Ladies and gentlemen, Christmas came early. Birthday gifts came early. In fact, even if you coach Billy Heenan, you got an early Super Bowl gift because the reason we're live here right now for a little while, of course, with the legendary brute force Brad Weiss, is because our SJC Long Island Golden Eagles men's basketball team had one of the most historic wins in the school's history. If you didn't think about SJC Long Island, now you certainly just did, because the Golden Eagles went into the Max Stern Center. And ladies and gentlemen, the last time our Golden Eagles beat Yeshiva, the brute force Brad Weiss was a freshman, and it was 5 years ago, right around this time. I mean, the brute force. I mean, first of all, congratulations on what a win. I mean, you're a part of a trivia question there.
Well, that's nice because, a lot of my trivia questions normally go with losing at SJC. So it's certainly nice to be on the winning side. But, man, was this a monumental win for these SJC Golden Eagles. I mean, absolutely unbelievable job by the team, by the coaching staff. I mean, they've just been inspiring, and I've said this all season long, but this is really that staple win, that win that brings the program back to life. I mean, they've already galvanized the troops and already have put together a great program this year, but they're saying to us right now, we're just not a program that's improving. We're not just a program that's came back. We are a program that's looking to get back into the Skyline Conference Championship conversation.
They are in the conversation. No, they are in the conversation. They just went in to the Max Stern Athletic Center, and that is no easy place to play in that environment. And they went in there, and they stood toe-to-toe. And for most of that game, they were in the lead, and they were in control of that game. And that was with the referees with some questionable officiating, to say the least. And our guys went in there, and they stood toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the nation that had a 50-game winning streak and beat them on their home court. I mean, this is a win that we're going to remember 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a win that, I think, like I said, just puts the program in, fast mode right now, going straight for, some big years of success. I mean, it is just really exciting to see a win like this, and this is a credit to the team's hard work, the team's preparation, dedication, all those things I've been talking about with Coach McSloy, about when I was there last year, as a player, seeing his preparation, right, all his dedication to this team. This win defines all of his hard work that he does because he, right, was prepared. He was ready, and the players were ready. I mean, the way they shot the ball tonight was incredible. I mean,
unbelievable. I mean, listen, Gordon hits a huge bucket where you're kind of looking at it, and it rattled in and out.
Oh, man. I mean, that was crazy, but it just felt right, Tom Bryce, because sometimes, the ball doesn't bounce your way, but the way this Golden Eagles team is playing, the ball's starting to bounce their way because they earned it. But, I mean, Tom, shooting 50% for the game from two, over 50% from three for the game, 10 for 18 to be exact. And, obviously on the other side of things with Yeshiva, they shot the ball horribly from three.
Especially in the second half, because we did give them plenty of opportunities to put distance between themselves and us. And for whatever reason, they just couldn't do it. I mean, it was essentially Ryan Terrell and nobody else. I mean, what surprised me most about Yeshiva is their lack of depth. I would have thought Yeshiva would have had 9, 10 guys that can score the ball, and really, what do they have, 3 guys in double figures tonight? And Leifer had 9 points. He struggled the whole game.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Tom, as somebody who's went against Gabe Leifer before, I was shocked. I really thought that he looked like a totally different player out there tonight. He didn't look aggressive. He didn't look, he didn't really even look ready to play, in my opinion. I've seen him dominate the floor and shoot threes and make shots and get in the paint. He looked very passive tonight, and I was kind of wondering, why he was playing like that. But ultimately, to our Golden Eagles, they did a great job putting pressure on those other guys we talked about, Tom Bryce. Like those guys, not named Terrell, not named Leifer, not named Reef. All those guys, listen, obviously, some guys got over some open shots. Halpert was one of them. He made a few open threes,
Halpert, yep.
Make a little run in the third quarter, in the second half. in, obviously the third quarter of the game, but the second half in college.
Are you thinking the Knicks and their fourth quarter struggles? Maybe that's why you have third quarter.
It's too much. It's too much in my head. Exactly. It's too much. But in the end, listen, Yeshiva pushed. They took a lead. They were kind of in control for a little bit. But listen, for a young team with many young players who are in their first season in college basketball, to be in an environment like that, like you talked about before, Tom, and withstanding Yeshiva's made shots and still being able to come back and still being able to take the lead and still being able to hit big shots in big moments, that was just huge for this SJC Golden Eagles team. And it was just really their defense too, Tom. I mean, yeah, they made some shots. Yeah, they made some plays. But they did an amazing job forcing the others to make plays. Ryan Terrell hit his normal tough shots.
But he hit them. But you know what? There was times where we did a really good job in containing him. He got the 32 points, and he got a bunch of points late. But you know what? Even on Terrell, it wasn't like the dominating 45, 46 points. When we played him earlier in the year, you felt like Yeshiva was like the Beatles. They were a touring group. Tonight, and I said this to you, and I said it last night, and to be fair, I'm going to give myself credit for a change. I'm going to be less humble here, and I'm going to be boastful. I said this too because I've watched Yeshiva play throughout the season because we had the Brooklyn Cowbell, Daniel Weiss on, and he messaged me after the game. And this Yeshiva team, especially their last 3 or 4 games, and they played these games at home, they were very mortal, the Brute Force. It was a different Yeshiva team than the one we saw earlier in the year, and I think that's why our boys came through and we showed that we could play, and I think we can win. We can win at any given moment. We've shown it.
Oh, absolutely. And you talk about, this being a different Yeshiva team. How about this being a different SJC team from earlier in the year? I mean, yeah, they were successful, but they have gotten so much better. And that's why, they had the success today. But Yeshiva, yeah, I mean, listen, Tom, both of us were watching the game. Both of us were listening into Max Live. And, even the Max announcers were making it pretty obvious that they saw some slippage in this team over the last couple, games here. Obviously, the last 3 games they played, Old Westbury, Farmingdale, and now St. Charles, Long Island, they haven't won very convincingly, and they lost 2 of the 3. And, so it's not definitely the normal Yeshiva team we're used to. They're definitely going through struggles, which is everybody's surprised about because, like you said, Tom, they had a 50-game winning streak. They were flying on all cylinders, and they kind of came down to life a little bit where they're, kind of an average team at this moment. But we all know when they get it back into accelerating mode, they're going to be a great team. And even when they don't play well, like they didn't play their best game today, they still found a way to stay in the game. But ultimately, it was about execution down the stretch, and SJC outclassed them tonight.
I sure did, and I want to give a huge shout out to Coach Billy Heenan because he commented in here saying, why not us and who they? So certainly Coach Heenan. And I was watching Coach Heenan at the end of the game, and you saw Coach Heenan and Spencer embrace. I mean, certainly it seemed like he got definitely that early Super Bowl gift, but I want to talk about a player who, to me, really stepped up, and young players were the example of that. I'm not talking about Alec Tabbitt. I'll get to Alec, but Ryan Mcneil was, for me, the guy. And if I'm going to look at a player, Brad, as the reason why our boys made history, Ryan Mcneil, and I said this to you during the game, I felt confident with him. For the first time, we established that Ryan Mcneil now is one of those go-to players. We have to get him in the rotation more because he showed tonight 17 points, but every single one of his points were clutch.
Oh, absolutely. He was huge. And not only that, Tom, he was the SJC leading scorer tonight. With 17 and a balanced attack. They had a balanced scoring, but he was the leading scorer. Obviously, he was hot in the first half, making shots for the SJC Golden Eagles. And then listen, Tom, you weren't the only one who trusted him. It was also Coach McSloy.
Absolutely, no question.
Because listen, we always talk about it as a coach myself. We always say it's not always who starts the game, it's who finishes. And tonight, Ryan Mcneil was on the court when it mattered most. And that was, the ultimate trust you could show, right, in a player is by showing that they could play down the stretch in games. Mcneil deserved it 100%. His defense out there, you saw him closing out to guys with urgency. He was going extremely hard defensively. And offensively, he was making plays. He was getting to the rim. The only thing he did wrong, Tom, was miss a couple free throws. But besides that, he was tremendous. He was making plays. He was getting downhill. He was getting guys open shots, and he was making them when he needed to. So he was huge for the Golden Eagles tonight. And once again, another young player Yes, he was one of, the best scorers on Long Island when he was in high school. But college is another level, and he has ultimately taken the next step. He has been a tremendous piece to this team. And now, Tom, he's a guy who not only is a role player, but might even be a closer for this team going forward.
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. And speaking of young guys, because I watched him, because especially Spencer got in a lot of foul trouble, especially in the second half, was Anthony Farafino. Here was a guy tonight that showed, you know what? You can leave him in a game, and now you almost got to have him on the court with Spence, because he made a lot of big plays for us. He did a phenomenal job in guarding Gabe Leifer. I mean, you think about, he had 7 rebounds. I think he had 3 block shots. I mean, this guy, again, he meant a lot more than what you saw on the stat sheet. And I thought really for the key for us in that second half and hanging in there and staying confident and having that lead was Big F, Anthony Farafino.
Oh, absolutely. He was huge tonight, too. And you said one of the key things he did, and it seemed like he was getting them at the right time. He was rebounding the ball extremely well. Like, he was getting those key rebounds when the SJC Golden Eagles needed them most. And that was huge. And you talked about things that are not in the stat sheet. I mean, I talked to my players today, after our last win today on the high school level, talking about how it's not always about those things that show up in the stat sheet. It's the things that don't show up. Like Farafino setting great screens tonight helped our guys get open shots. Farafino, right, hustling and also altering shots in the paint made it harder for Yeshiva to finish at the rim. Like, he was tremendous. You could just see it all game long, his impact, right? Especially, like you said, when Malloy got in foul trouble, he came in and didn't miss a beat. He went in there, he rebounded the ball, he defended, he made a couple baskets as well. He was definitely a key here.
And he was confident. You saw, when you watched his facial mannerisms, you saw confidence. You saw that this young man is here. And I felt for the entire team, I felt our young players, they're here. They stayed confident. You talked about earlier in the year, right? Our guys would have kind of almost dropped back. Now you look at this team to have a win like that. I felt like this team went from being boys to men. Absolutely.
And you know what? And the one thing that we said, Tom, from early in the season was that comes with experience, right? You're going to go through your, especially as a young team, you're going to go through some of those tough times, some of those rough games. We talked about some of those games earlier in the season where they were letting up 100 points. They went through some of the hard times. And, I remember speaking to Kevin O'Halloran after a loss earlier in the season at Farmingdale. And he said, listen, we're learning. We have to continue to, trust the process, trust the system, and we're going to come back. We're going to be a lot better. And they've done exactly that. I mean, they've trusted Coach McSloy's defense. It has been very successful in recent games. They haven't let a team score close to 100 in a while. I mean, they've been tremendous. And their offense, has been very efficient. You look at their offense, like we said, the numbers earlier, 50%, right? 50% from the field, over 50% from 3, right? They're taking the right shots, right? And there's a difference between taking the wrong and right shots. They're taking the right shots. They're being patient, right? You see Spencer in the post, and it almost reminds me at times of myself, taking his time and getting to his hook shot, and it's unstoppable, right? Making moves. Like, he's got
a nice little shot. We were speaking with Coach Ryan Highland earlier because we were actually, go figure, speaking about St. Joe's, and he said Spencer Malloy's got a nice little elbow shot there. He can get that little jumper in there.
Yeah, and what was great today too is that he's a righty, and he was going a bunch of times with his left hand and finishing with his left hand, and that's just a testament to him. But like you said, Tom, they're going to the basket, they're making plays with confidence, and that is something that came with reps, right? Not only in practice but in games. And now they've put it all together. They got guys playing together. You can see the chemistry on the court has definitely built. And this is why, Tom, that this team, right, this is their first year together for most of them, right? And the fact that they've done this well and had this much success in year one gives us excitement not only for this season, but for the future of this program.
Absolutely. And if you are not following the SJC Long Island Golden Eagles, please follow them now on Twitter, SJC_MBB, Instagram, SJC_MBB, and also follow an alum like the Brute Force Brad Weiss, Twitter, Brad Weiss20, Instagram, BWeiss20. He's on Snapchat, which I don't even think I use Snapchat anymore, but he's still on Snapchat. Make sure you give him a follow. There are people still on Snapchat, but again, this was This was an historic win. This was one for the age. We wanted to talk about it just for a little while, just a few minutes, talk about this win. And I was also happy for one of our guys, Matt Hurt, because Matt was money tonight. He had some big three-pointers. He was clutch down the stretch. I mean, he played great defensively. I mean, I think of our veterans. We'll get to Gordon, but we'll get to Matt first, because I think about, for him, this was a big win, but also he proved it. He had some big shots for us. And every time I looked at Matt, he hit that three. I'm like, I knew we could win this. I mean, talk to me about your old teammate, Matt Hurt, and his performance.
Yeah, it's honestly just, knowing Matt and having been his teammate and seeing him as a young kid grow into, like you said, Tom, a man now, a leader, right?
Absolutely.
One of the veterans of the team. And the fact that, and it was just so inspiring to see him hit big shots when the team needed it. Because, that's the type of kid he is, right? He's a guy who plays within himself, who plays the role on the team that the team needs. He's not going to do anything out of his element, but he's going to do everything possible to help the team win. And you see him, right? And I know his work ethic, and you see him being one of those guys after practice, in the gym, before practice, leading the team, right? And the fact that he's shooting the ball so well, we all know he's a great shooter. But those reps that he gets in practice, right, they're not just catch and shoot. They're off the catch, off the run shots. And you see him with high efficiency stepping into shots and making them. And, the fact that he has put in all this hard work, he's led this team. He's been that voice for this team. And now it's showing on the court, not only just in a regular game, but down in the middle of the most important part of the game when the team needs it most, in the clutch. I mean, that is just Matt Hurd. I'm just so proud of him as a former teammate, seeing him do that. And then, you know what? Everybody's talked about, Matt Hurd's a shooter, but he struggles on defense. Well, he has gotten a lot better there, too.
I don't think he's struggling at all right now on defense. I think he's doing a phenomenal job.
He has buy-in to Coach McSloy's defensive philosophy. He does exactly what the team needs. He's in the right spots. He closes out with high hands, and he hustles his butt off. So it's just awesome to see what he's done for this team, both from a leadership standpoint and the fact that another guy, just like Mcneil, who is closing games now for the SJC Golden Eagles, when earlier in the season, he wasn't getting as many opportunities. He was starting for the team, but he wasn't really closing games. The fact that he's worked this hard has earned him that spot. And tonight, he was huge. Like you said, Tom, he was money Matt Hurd.
Oh, he certainly was. A lot of money, to say the least. And another one of our guys who came through, and I always keep saying it to Brute Force, his leadership, it means much more than his points. And that's Gordon Shore. I mean, Gordon, again, he hit big buckets for us. He was down the stretch. I mean, he was the guy again. I feel like in a lot of ways, it's not going to show up in terms of his points per game and all those different categories. But I look at him on the court, and I feel like, again, this team can win because of his veteran leadership. And he proved also he made some big buckets for us that kept us in it. And talk about Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon was another guy who was huge tonight. And, like you said, the stats don't really tell you that he was huge tonight. But, Yeshiva at times put some good pressure on him, and he was able to calm it down, right? Take the pressure, still make plays, still make the right pass. And obviously one of the guys on the team that gets guys open shots because he's constantly looking to go downhill and make plays. And that was huge. And then obviously, with the offense being as efficient as it was, they moved the ball. They got him an open shot at the end of the game, and that was the biggest shot of the game. Like we talked about before the show, Tom, it clicked the rim a couple times.
I know. When that hit, I was like, all right, now we got to talk about this. Because I was, first of all, if that doesn't go in, something tells me Yeshiva's going to find a way. But when Gordon's basket goes in and we're up 5, I'm like, all right, we're not gonna blow this. Something tells me that we're going to find it. It was almost like the basketball gods were on our side tonight. That's how I felt.
Absolutely. And for a guy like Gordon, he earned and deserved that. I mean, all his hard work, right? Handling the ball, being the point guard, running the offense, right? Being one of the guys like on the zone up top that constantly has to get out to Terrell and constantly get out to, Halpert. He's running all over the place to make sure they're not getting open shots. So it's a lot that they put on his shoulders, right? And he was able to make a play down the stretch where, they run their offense, they get him a wide open shot, and he comes in the clutch and makes a big shot for these Golden Eagles. And as a leader, as somebody, right, who's a vocal leader, it was huge for him. I mean, I know, somebody like Gordon who's had experience many years playing now, it was huge for him to hit that shot because he's been one of those guys that they've relied on. And the fact that he was so good, not only on the ball, but off the ball, he deserved to make that shot. And it was huge for the team that shot went in.
I think we're going to look back on his career at SJC and for this program. This win is going to be responsible in part because of Gordon. 14 points tonight, but he was worth so much more than those 14 points. And also congratulations to our very good friend, Mr. Jason Gordieso, of course, who chimes in, let's go. And obviously, let's effing go, Coach. Obviously, let's effing go. And 9-5, we've clinched a playoff spot. We're going to be in the postseason. We've clinched a winning season. We've won 8 of our last 9 games, and we've got 2 big games coming up. But at the end of the day, we're just focusing on this. This was one that you're going to remember. As an alum, Brad, talk about how proud this win is, because I know for you, we had the playoffs the first year, but those last 3 other years were very, very tough. But I'm thinking about all those other alumni. I'm thinking about Billy Heenan, obviously, who was on the court there coaching it. But for you as an alum, I know it's got to mean so much here tonight.
Oh, yes, it does. And I mean, listen, I'm one of those alumni that for sure have not left the program and have not, my interest in the program has remained the same. And it's just awesome, especially having got to work with, a lot of these players, communicating with them, knowing what their abilities are, how hard they work, their work ethic off and on and off the court. I knew a lot about these guys and I knew what they were capable of. And then obviously, Tom, you got to be happy for Mike Mcneil. I mean, you really,
absolutely.
I mean, like I said,
I think I'm going to say it again. If he's not Skyline Coach of the Year after this win tonight, clearly the Skyline Conference is definitely biased because he went in there and he just beat, again, Yeshiva, which was one of the top teams in the nation, had a 50-game winning streak. And our boys went in there and won a game that nobody expected them to win. And they won tonight. If he's not Coach of the Year, something's wrong. Clearly, there is a problem when it comes to voting. There clearly is.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, we already had said, on previous episodes that we thought he was Coach of the Year anyway. But this win, right, I mean, you're beating a team that's ranked 15th. You have won all these games recently. Your team is playing at such a high level, and considering how young they are, and right, how many times we've had Rookie of the Weeks and stuff.
At this point, Alec and Spencer should just share the award at this point. I mean,
there's so many reasons to point to Coach Mcneil as Coach of the Year. I really, like I said, Tom, I'm kind of with you on this at this point. There's really no reason that he shouldn't be. I mean, he's just doing an amazing job. Our friend Coach Gordieso is chiming in. Obviously, tremendous job, Coach Mantesta, Coach Billy Heenan. I mean, this is a credit to the entire program. But like we continue to say, Tom, this win is just not about, the season. It's not about all these. It's about this team right now. And the fact that they have gotten to this point and just got this win tonight against Yeshiva is just monumental for this program. And as an alumni, like I was going to before, you got to be so proud. We've had so many tough losses throughout the 3 years that I was there with a lot of, losing. And, the year that we got to the playoffs, it was an inspiring run. And it kind of reminds me of this run that they're having. But this one's a lot more special because this team has came together. They are young. They are hungry. And it's just awesome to see them go on the road, like you said, Tom, to the Max Stern Athletic Center, where I played 4 years. It is not easy to win there. Trust me, those fans are all over you. They're loud. They're chanting.
They were loud tonight. My God. I even saw fans watching the stream. They were coming onto the court. I mean, that's a place. I mean, we just had Coach Highland on. We're talking about the Doghouse, but the Max Stern Center.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's an environment. I mean, you're lucky to walk out of that place after the game. Literally, you almost have to crawl out of there as an opposing player. That's how tough that place is to play.
It is. But, in the end, it's also a fun place to play. I think everybody looks forward to, the environment. And I think these guys, the way that they were playing, I mean, they were looking forward to this environment. They were looking forward, right, to coming back against Yeshiva after the first time they lost to them, tough loss, and coming back and getting them the second time and proving to people that we're just not some average Skyline team. We're a Skyline team that is going to compete in the playoffs and that is going to fight for a Skyline Conference championship this season. So that is definitely huge for the program. I'm extremely proud as an alumni, as somebody who still has their face in the Danzy Center on the poster.
They're going to keep it at this point because you're on the radio every week. They're going to keep it because, let's be honest, you are probably like the most notable alum at this point. So clearly, I mean, somebody knows what they're doing and keeping you on the poster there. So that at this point, you're not going to be taken off just because of the publicity you give the school.
No, listen, you know what? If there's one thing, listen, obviously they put me up there for my ability on the court and what I did for the program on the court. But, one thing that I want to be known for now, Tom, is to be one of those top supporters and top alumni that continues to support and give back to the program. So that's something that, the reason why we came on tonight is because of how much passion, how much excitement, and how much, confidence and how much we care about this SJC Long Island program. And listen, they've done everything this season to make us want to continue to support them and continue to follow them because they have done tremendous things in their first season with a lot of new guys. They have been inspiring, and the fact that they got this win tonight was absolutely monumental. It
is one of the biggest wins in the entire school's history. It's right up there with Coach Matejko and the legendary 09 team that won the Skyline Conference Championship. It's right up there because you're going to look back in history. You beat a team that's number 15 in the country. Ryan Terrell is a player that's going to play professional. He is what he means to the Jewish community and what he means to the game of basketball right now. I mean, this is a really, really monumental one. This is a program builder. This is one that you go back and say, you know what? SJC Long Island, look at where we were to where we are now. We have 13 wins, and we have a win against Yeshiva. Again, Leifer and Terrell, two of the best players in the nation. This was a team that was one of the best teams in the nation. We went in there tonight, and we didn't stay rattled. And there was a stretch where we struggled offensively in the second half, and you were waiting for Yeshiva to put us away. But I think our defense, and I think about Farafino, I think about the Hurt brothers, I think about Mcneil coming in and playing, I think 26 minutes, 17 points. I just think about the fact, even though we had Malloy in trouble, but I look at guys like Alec Tabata, who we talked about. Again, Alec Tabata makes play after play. He gets in there. He stays confident. He keeps going for his shots. He gets big buckets. It was a solid effort. And that was with Jake Gordiello not even scoring tonight. He was really not involved at all in the lineup. But we had a balanced attack, as you mentioned. There were a number of different guys. Gordon had one of his better games offensively. Obviously, Matt hit some huge buckets for us. Obviously, Alex Spencer at times had some big buckets first time, as you talked about. Ryan Mcneil again. I mean, this was really a moment that you're going to remember for a very, very long time. And again, congratulations to the entire team, to the program, to the coaching staff. This is one for the ages. Like I said, I can't stress this enough. This is one, regardless of what happens after tonight, regardless of whether we win the Skyline. We know we are going to win the Skyline Conference, but regardless of what happens, this is a win that you say, you know what? You should come to SJC Long Island. We have a win over Yeshiva. We have an environment here. And I think that's what we've done here before we get closing thoughts, is that we now have established an environment. And I felt like, unfortunately, your last few years there, we didn't have that bond with the teammates. We didn't have where these guys, they all play together. There's a system in place. That wasn't your fault or your teammates' fault. That's just the product of the environment. But we've now established that McSloy has put, just like Ryan Highland, who came on with John Jay, how John Jay's season has turned around. I look at St. Joe's, it's the same thing. We have established that these guys all play with the system, but most importantly, they're all great teammates, and that's why we've done so well here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and, you just watch the games, whether, they're losing or winning. You can just tell that they're a team and that they're a team that has a close bond. You mentioned Gordiello not really being involved today and not having his best game scoring the ball, but you watch him on the bench, right? He wasn't that unselfish teammate. He was that, he was that unselfish teammate. He wasn't the selfish teammate. That's what I meant to say.
They do listen to us. All the guys listen. Good thing you made sure you backtracked. All the guys listen.
No, listen, he was the unselfish teammate. I mean, he was just unbelievably, like, you see him on the bench. It didn't get him down that Ryan Mcneil was playing, that Matt Hurt was playing, that other guys were playing, right? He continues to support the team. You see the guys who almost never play, like Nick Nemekis and others, right?
I was speaking with Nick before and after the game. I mean, listen, they're great teammates. They're all
they're incredible teammates. I mean, and listen, I'm recognizing this because I understand, right, that even in some of my bad seasons, that wasn't the case, right? We were losing games, and guys weren't getting off the bench. You guys weren't getting excited, right? I mean, Tom.
Kevin O'Halloran's like the biggest cheerleader. Cannot forget about Kevin O'Halloran. Every time I see Kevin O'Halloran, Kevin's running in there as if like he scored that bucket.
Oh, my God. Yeah, of course. We got to mention Kevin O'Halloran. He'll kill me if I don't mention him. But, but listen, Kevin obviously has been tremendous for the team too, but it's a team effort. They don't care who plays. As long as they win, as long as they have success, they are a team that is like this right now. And, to make fun of myself, Tom, they got 13 wins this year. It almost took me 3 seasons to get 13 wins.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I'll say it just to be fun. All right. Listen, the fact that they've taken 1 season, have so much success, right, is a credit to the team, credit to obviously the coaching staff, like you said, and a credit to the environment that has been built at SJC. And like you said, with this win, with the way this season has gone, now it persuades many more Golden Eagles of the future to want to come play at SJC Long Island, right? Especially guys on Long Island in Suffolk County and Nassau County, right? These guys who want to play college basketball who are good players, they look at a program like SJC, building, young, team that you want to go to, team that's going in the right direction with a great leader in Coach Mcneil. There's so many things, right, that you would want to go to SJC for, and that's why, I'm one of the guys, people ask me, how was your experience at SJC? And I talk about the current team, I talk about what's going on now, because that's what you want to be there for. And ultimately, the school has so many great things, and the fact that this team is doing this well and this inspiring is going to bring many more great SJC Golden Eagles boys basketball players going forward.
And they're going to be men, and they're going to be leaders. And listen, again, now we can look upon, regardless of what happens, we can build on something. Now we can go back to the drawing board and say, 13-plus wins, potential Skyline Championship. Look, I don't even want to get too far ahead, but this team's going to be in the postseason regardless. ECAC, I think, is very, very likely here. So, there's a lot to build upon, a lot to be proud upon. We think about the years you were there when I had Coach Mcneil on 2.5 years ago. And it was like, yeah, okay, let's talk about the Matejko years. We don't have to talk about it anymore. We love those players. We love the history. But now we're building a culture here. We're building an environment. Coach Heenan's a big part of it because he was a part of the last great team that we had in 15. Yeah. You were a part of the last playoff team, but now we're going to the postseason. Now we're going to be a legitimate team in the Skyline Conference. And we've got guys that are learning how to win. That's what it's all about. This was a year, listen, before we get out of here, nobody saw SJC. If you would have said SJC Long Island would be right now at the top of the standings in the Skyline Conference, people would have said, what are you smoking? They would have laughed at you. Everybody would have naturally said the usual suspects, Farmingdale and Yeshiva and Merchant Marine and everybody else. They would not have said, SJC Long Island? Listen, nobody would have said that. They would have laughed at you. So the fact that we are where we are right now, and John Gonzalez says congratulations to the Brute Force. Remember the Bengals and the under of the year, the Tiger. We'll get to that on Friday's show, John. We're just kind of riffing here really quick before we get out of here because our voices are pretty much shot at this point when it comes to the SJC Long Island Golden Eagles. Also, shout out to John Gonzalez because his Sports Authorities group, he has actually made me a moderator so I can share all of our shows and streams on the Sports Authorities group on Facebook. So please make sure, everybody, you do join that group. But again, this is an historic win. This is one for the ages. Congratulations to the entire team. Congratulations to the program, to the coaching staff, Mike Mcneil, Joe Mantesta, Billy Heenan, Jason Gordieso. I am sure we'll do something in the near and distant future with the team and the coaches. And I want to also shout out all the players like Nick Nemekis and Rashard Lawson, Mark Roberts Jr., your old teammate. Good for Mark to be able to bask in the glory of a victory like this. Tom Bell, Basir Hoyt. So it's a mix of young and old players, but now they're getting to learn how to win, and that's what it counts. So the Brute Force, I want to give you closing thoughts. Anything you want to share to the team, anything you want to share to anybody from SJC, and anything you want to plug, and fire away.
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. So listen, as an alumni of the school, as somebody who has been watching from afar, just to the team, because I know they're going to be watching, I know they're supporting this. I'm just extremely proud of you guys. I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do here going forward. But they know this, and I'll say it. Just take it day by day, game by game, right? One at a time, because ultimately, one thing we start talking about, Skyline playoffs, take it one game at a time. You got Old Westbury next. You got Mount St. Vincent's after that. right? 2 important games to, lead us into that.
Very big games now with conference standings. Absolutely huge games now.
Yeah, so, take it one game at a time. Obviously, celebrate tonight. Coach Billy Heenan, you can celebrate this tonight. Hopefully for your sake, you get to celebrate a Super Bowl win tomorrow as well for Cincinnati Bengals. All right. But, ultimately, the future is bright at SJC Long Island. It is just very exciting. And listen, when Mike Mcneil was hired, we've said this and Mike just said this. I was one of the first guys who approached him. When I got to know him, I automatically saw that this was the right guy for the job. And the fact that he has gone from, that team all the way to now, and the team in a very short period of time is already.
Oh, this is very short. Listen, I remember speaking with different people, and they said, St. Joe's, they'll be good in a couple years. St. Joe's, 21, 22, throwaway season. 23, 24 is the season, because all the guys that we're talking about now, whether it's Gordiello, Mcneil, Timmy Hurd, Alec Tabita, Farafino, Spencer, they'll be good when they're juniors. Now, nobody saw this coming. I mean, not a single person, not a single pundit, not a single coach, even of the peers of these guys in the Skyline Conference, saw St. Joe's Long Island 13-8 when it was 8 of their last 9 games and 9-5 in the Skyline Conference. I don't care who anybody is, you didn't see it coming. No way.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, some people that believed it, and that was the players.
We believed it as well. We knew that it was going to happen.
Yeah, and they believed it. They worked for it, and ultimately they have certainly deserved it. So I'm proud of every single one of you guys. I'm hoping to be there on Tuesday for your game against Old Westbury, the last home game. I'm hoping to be there, rooting you guys on. Can't thank you guys enough for your support of the Sports Report, and we are certainly proud to support you guys because you earned it. This is one of the best wins, like Tom said, in many, many years that the program has had. And, this is going to be one that we don't forget. And, now it's just time to take care of business, the final 2 regular season games, and continue to make more history and continue to make us proud at SJC Long Island. So I'm just happy for the group, happy for the coaching staff, and just really excited to see the future of this program, because right now it's going certainly in the right direction. And I'm just proud to be an alumni of SJC Long Island right now.
I'll tell you one thing before we get out of here. It will be an interesting ride. It'll be a wonderful ride from Washington Heights to Suffolk County. So for those guys, if they're on the bus right now, if they're in the car, I don't know how they get into where they have to from their destinations, but I am sure it's going to be one of the greatest rides. They're going to remember this moment for the rest of their lives. They're going to remember it. They're going to relive it. It is going to be their Super Bowl. This is the Super Bowl for SJC Long Island. Today, we were in the Super Bowl. This was our Super Bowl. This was our championship. This was our NBA Finals. This was our World Series. This was our WrestleMania. This was our Stanley Cup. You throw it in there. Big moment. UFC, which is on here right now. This was our guys' moment, and they rose to the occasion. And it's going to be an incredible environment coming up here Tuesday at Danzy. And listen, we could even have some home playoff basketball. There's still that possibility. So it may not just be yet the last home game of the regular season. Stay tuned for that. So congratulations to everybody. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to all the alumni that are friends of the show, like Chris Niblock and Matt Weeks and Trey Black and Olivier Laurent and all those great players, Andy Laurent, and obviously Isaiah Moore and everybody that was on the team that you played with, and obviously Coach Heenan, who was obviously a player when the team was last good, to now being a coach again. It's a really, really special time, and congratulations to everybody. And we are talking all things related here to the world of the SJC Long Island Golden Eagles. We will be back here this Friday talking all things related to the world of sports. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the brute force Brad Weiss for all the great things he also does for our Plainview JFK Hawks, the boys JV team. Congratulations to them on a victory well done and a great season. And we are looking forward to more SJC Long Island talk, because we're going to have a lot of basketball to talk for the next couple of weeks. We got big games coming up here. Old Westbury, we always have to get up for that one. There's going to be no layoff here. There's going to be no letdown for sure, because we're going to be looking forward to that. Also, Mount St. Vincent is always a tough place to play, so a lot to look forward to. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportzwire Radio, and alongside myself to talk the historic victory that our SJC Long Island Golden Eagles had, 79-76 over the Yeshiva Maccabees at the Max Stern Athletic Center, is the brute force Brad Weiss, one of the greatest players in the school's history. He is at the top of the list all-time in block shots, 25th in rebounds in that magical 2018-19 season, where he was one of the best players, and the Skyline Conference was here to talk about it. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening to this. Good night, and we'll be back soon. And Let's go, Golden Eagles. The golden era is fully in effect. You better fly with us. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.